My name is Tyler Fornes, and I am one of the co-hosts of the Good, the Bad, and the Hungy AEW podcast here on the Voice of Wrestling Podcasting Network. We take a broad scope approach to the world of All Elite Wrestling and the entire universe of Tony Khan. We talk about the big matches, the big stars, the promos, the storylines, and we also look at it from a big picture perspective. How are things going to change over the course of the next 10 years with AEW still in the picture? How are companies like WWE going to adapt and adjust to AEW? Are they going to be a similar way like they did with WCW in the late 1990s? Will there be a counterpunch? We talk about all of that and more on The Good, the Bad, and the Hungy every week on the Voice of Wrestling Network.
Hi, I'm Case Lowe, co-host of the Open the Voice Gate podcast. The one question I'm constantly asked when it comes to Dragon Gate is, how do I get into the promotion? Well, stop asking and start listening to the Open the Voice Gate podcast, released every Wednesday on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. For exclusive news and show reviews, look no further than the leader in Dragon Gate coverage, Open the Voice Gate.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Super J-Cast. I'm Joel, and I'm joined by Damon McDonald. It is Tuesday the 19th of August 2025. This is episode 375. We're back. G1's done.
Yep.
Premier League has started.
Yes.
Exciting times. We're in a transitional era between the the death of one sport that I like and the birth of another.
It's not that bad, is it?
No, it's a good result for us. We beat Man United away. That's
you did. Yep.
Great way to start the season. I mean, the performance wasn't very good, but that's a sign of a serious team, isn't it? When you can play poorly but come away with the 3 points. I mean, Man United away, that's a tough game. I know United have been crap recently, but that is a stadium that I've been to many times and seen us get absolutely battered, humiliated, fans laughing at us on the way out of the stadium. So, first day of the season, they spent a lot of money. Their fans are buzzing, really excited. A lot of new, very dangerous attacking players. Super Sunday, everyone's up for it. Everyone's looking at Arsenal, waiting for us to flop and to turn up there and put in a pretty ugly performance, but come away with a win.
Ugly wins are
your
the
hands
best
off for
ones.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. A road win. There's not. I mean, you don't get style points. You know what I mean?
No, sure.
A win is a win. 3 points is 3 points. That's where I see it. So good on them. I know. I know. How do I find out the season started? I forget, but I knew the season started past weekend, and I was. What did I watch? I watched a little bit. Did I watch Crystal Palace?
Yeah, they had a 0-0 draw away to Chelsea, I think, or home to Chelsea. I can't remember where it was.
Maybe that was it. And who did Fulham play? A fucking team I'd never heard of before in my life.
Fulham. Who did Fulham play?
It was like ABS or something like that, or BAS.
Christ, I'm racking my brains here. Who did they face? Brighton.
Brighton. Okay. Are they new?
Oh, no.
In the league?
Brighton have been in the Premier League for quite a while.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I went to university there. University of Sussex. Lovely little town, Brighton. Okay.
Well, why don't you support them?
Why not? I would have done. When when I was at university, so the campus of the University of Sussex is just on the outskirts of Brighton, a place called Falmer. Lovely sort of green rolling countryside. And at that time, so this would have been like 2006, Brighton Football Club were applying for planning permission to have a new stadium built basically right there, like next to where the university campus was.
Oh, wow.
So it's a bit of a sort of hippie-ish leaning university. So there were loads of these protests like, oh no football. God, can you imagine if there was a football stadium next to our campus? There'd be football hooligans, everyone. And me and mine was like, fucking bring it on. Yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
I would have loved that.
You're going to ruin the grass and the trees. It's Neil from the Young Ones.
Yeah, I think if I'd maybe been to university like 3 years later, or whenever it was they finished building the Amex Stadium, I might very well be a Brighton fan. Yeah, good team. Might,
Maybe
one of these like
that'll be
Moneyball teams that do like exceptional work in the transfer windows, like scouting, bringing in these nobodies that no one's heard of, and then within 2 years they're like flipping them for 50, 60, 70 million pounds. It's crazy.
I love that. I know we talked about this before, but that's a movie that I've had it in my library for quite a while. Just never got around to putting it on yet, and I know I would love it, and I know it's right up my alley. It's just I don't know.
You hate yourself. You deny yourself. Nice
What's that?
Things. You hate yourself. What? You're denying yourself nice things.
I don't know why I do that. Like the moons and the stars have to be aligned for me to fucking jump into something. I don't know what it is.
It's recommendations. Like recommendations are death. Like if someone says, "Oh, you should watch this," you really like it.
I'll never watch it.
There's that little bit inside me, like, "Fuck you! I'm not going to watch that." No, I won't like it.
You know, it's I don't know. It's just there's a commitment thing that I have a problem with. Like I just can't because what if I do like it, Joel? Because now I have to watch every fucking show. And I don't want to. I know me, and I don't want to. Joel, I'm still fucking buzzing off of this goddamn Oasis concert.
I thought you were going to say buzzing off the G1 Climax. I was going to say, okay.
I can't necessarily say they're on par right now in my buzz level. But that's what I do. I just get fucking incredibly hyper focused on. Yeah, like on some things, man, and I just fucking I chase the dopamine is what it is. It's what it is. That's what the doctor tells me anyway. I just think I'm a fucking idiot, and I just want to have fun.
Putting the dope into dopamine.
Yeah, I'm telling you that if there was a way, that is probably the class A drug. I would like if there was a way of no risk, and you know what you're getting, and it's pure, and you're not going to get fucking laced with some other nonsense. That would probably be my class A drug of choice. Like, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Oh, you want to feel great? Yeah, sounds. I guess if you abuse it, then you run out of fucking your own, and then now you're addicted to a fucking dopamine hit. But, that would probably one I would abuse to excess, I think. How about you? What class A drug would you?
I'm addicted to food and having delicious eating experience. As you know, I've just come back from London. I was there to get Esther's Thai passport renewed. And my Instagram algorithm has just completely become all food now. Recipes, all these little viral restaurants and cafes popping up. And there's this one I've been wanting to try for ages called Noodle Inn. It's in Soho in Old Compton Street. It's like Xi'an Chinese noodles, like the belt noodles, the hand-pulled ones that are really thick. But basically, you got a massive bowl, and it's just like one giant noodle sort of folded over itself with like loads of chili powder and garlic, and it's called biang biang noodles, that like oil splash noodles. And the one that they serve that's the most popular, they do it like with an entire short rib. In fact, I'm going to send you a picture of it now because it was so good.
Please do.
Here we go.
I have to just give me 1 second. I do have to go get my phone. I had to get my phone.
So I had that lovely trip to Noodle Inn. Went to Eat Tokyo, which is a nice sort of Japanese, sort of middling in terms of quality, but it's a good menu. You always have a good meal at Eat Tokyo. Went to that one there in Hammersmith, and also had a fantastic falafel wrap at Mr. Falafel. It's a little Palestinian joint that's near Shepherd's Bush Market Station. And I ate that whilst I was watching the end of Yota Tsuji versus Evil. So that was an interesting experience. So I was very happy to have my Mr. Falafel wrap then. But yeah, can you see now, Damon, my
God, this thing is
noodles. Fucking good.
I would just post this on Twitter, on our Twitter account. Just no words, just put that fucker right on up. Holy mackerel. It's like, know what it reminds me of? It looks like a better version of the rib that I had, which was fucking amazing. Like that is just with all the spices and all the noodles underneath and the green onion and Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Because they put all like the chili powder and the green onion and garlic and everything, and then they pour loads of hot oil over the top of it.
Oh,
And it's so fragrant, so aromatic. It's fucking
I
amazing.
would just fucking. Whoa, that is lovely. Yeah, I need to. That's what I got to do. So when I get to New York, I'll be in the pop-up shop is in the Soho area, which is near Chinatown. That might have to happen, something along those lines. I got to find something along those lines because that looks fucking good. Oh, yeah. You know how to do it, man, when it comes to that shit. You know how to do it. Like, you find the places that are really good. Damn.
And the great thing is, like, me and Mally, we're always on the same page when we do these trips. Like, we're not really that interested in sort of tourist attractions or anything like that. We're just like, right, what's the most we can stuff our faces with and get like the best meals in? And it's all the whole trip is just sort of planned around eating.
Dude, if I showed you my Google Maps, like my London pins, they're all just restaurants, and there had to be like 200 of them, and I'm like, there's no possible way we could possibly. So it really just came down to okay, we're in this area, we'll check to see what's around here, and then we'll hit that spot. That's us in a nutshell. Like what, dude? I'm looking at the pop-up shop, and I'm like, all right, what restaurants are around here? Is there anything walking? What do I want? I do it all the time. Last night, I had the worst fucking craving for, and this is like 10 o'clock at night. In Philly, we have roast pork sandwiches. So it's thinly sliced roast pork in this au jus with like spinach and garlic, provolone, sharp provolone. Oh, it's just a killer. I had the worst craving for it. So at lunch today, I got one. I was like, oh, this is so good.
That's one thing I think like the States has nailed, like running rings around the UK when it comes to sandwiches.
Yeah. Yes. I would agree.
Because nothing beats a fucking good sandwich with like good quality ingredients. And yeah, you guys, you got it down.
Yeah, I mean, I feel very fortunate in the sense of where we live. Like, we have a ton of pseudo-Italian, Italian-American, all that. Mafia. We have all that.
Yeah.
But they know how to fucking cook.
About the Italians, they know how to make a fucking sandwich, don't they?
No, do they ever. Do they ever. There's one that is actually in Jersey, probably about 10 minutes from the house. They do a fried chicken cutlet. They put ricotta cheese, like and hot honey, and you call it rocket there, but we're like arugula. Arugula. What else is on that fucking sandwich? It is just to die for. But yeah, we do sandwiches well. We do fucking do. And again, Philly is known for like the cheesesteak. Okay, great. And you can get good cheesesteaks, no doubt. No, absolutely. I think the underrated sandwich is the roast pork and chicken cutlet. Like those are the if you know kind of thing. You know, you don't fucking always go for the cheesesteak. Chicken cutlet sandwich, fucking roast pork. Philly's got it going on when it comes to that shit. Crime, on the other hand, terrible.
No, I remember this was about 20 years ago. There was a PBS documentary that I don't know how I managed to get hold of this, but it's a PBS documentary called "Sandwiches That You Will Like," and it's just the title of it. Nothing fancy. It didn't go for anything clever or snazzy or memorable. Like no puns. It was just sandwiches that you will like. And I thought, oh, okay, and it's incredible. Just an amazing documentary, like really low budget. It's just about an hour long, and it's just all sandwiches from different cities across the USA. Amazing.
Yeah.
The Elvis sandwich, tripe sandwich. There's like French dips, Italian beef, cheesesteaks, banh mi's. That's everything you can imagine. It's just the best.
The cool thing about it is that different regions of the country have specialties. You know, so New York, obviously, you're getting your pastrami sandwich. You're getting your. They have this thing called chopped cheese, whatever. But Boston,
chipped ham, is that a thing? I recall chipped ham being.
Chipped ham is more of like a breakfast thing, I think. I'm not really familiar with the chipped ham, but we have
muffaletta.
Muffaletta. That is New Orleans. That is fantastic.
Po'
That
boys.
is.
Always wanted to try a po' boy.
Po' boys are very similar to what we would call a hoagie, or New York would call a sub or a hero. But then, like down south, they'll do the shrimp po' boy, and so it's fried shrimp, like this kind of creamy, kind of tartar saucy kind of thing. Yeah, that's banging if you get a good one. But every section of the country has, obviously barbecue in Texas, and everybody has their specialty. That's what makes America great, is our sandwiches. Make no mistake
That's
about
what I would love. Like, if I come to visit you, then I want like a sandwich tour.
Oh, dude, I'll knock your fucking socks off. Your head will spin. You'll cry. You'll be like, I need one to eat now, and I need some type of carrying device that will keep this safe for me when I bring it back home. Yeah, absolutely. Again, we and that's just like the best that we do. And we have other shit too that's like, oh fuck, that's pretty fucking great as well. I would do anything to have you spend 1 or 2 days here. I'm telling you, your head would explode. We would show you some good fucking shit. No doubt. No doubt.
As soon as the next New Japan of America show pops up, then yeah, I'll be there.
All right, so never is what you're saying? Oh, New Japan Pro Wrestling. I had a bunch of people.
Like?
Yeah,
Silly,
why
silly
you
people.
do this? I had a bunch of people contacting me about the New Japan Pro Wrestling stuff.
Oh yeah. One of those weekends, was it?
What was that?
One of those weekends.
Oh yeah, it was one of those weekends.
Going all wacky and people texting you saying, "What? What?"
Yeah. You know what it is? It's a lot of people who haven't watched, will see a result and not really watch it, and then hit me up to give their 2 cents about it. And it's like,
like Dave Meltzer, then basically.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But it's just like,
because I'm missing a trick, Dave. I mean, I was spending hours, watching the shows, like concentrating, trying to come up with interesting angles to analyze things. And on the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it's all just, let me read a bit for you. Shingo Takagi versus Shota Umino. No rating, but Dave wrote, this was said to be one of the best bouts of the tournament. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Konosuke Takeshita. Also, no rating, but Dave wrote, this was also said to be excellent. So What am I doing? Why am I wasting my time doing match reviews when I could just be charging $10 to just say, this was said to be, and just put adjectives in there?
Oh, but that's fucking crazy. That's not good at all. Like, come on, dude. That's your job. Like that's how you make your living. Correct me if I'm wrong. By watching the pro wrestling, and again, you don't have to watch.
He's a busy man, Damon. He's busy arguing with randos on X.com.
I guess, man. That's actually really disappointing, because, and again, your mileage may vary, but back in the day when you got the newsletter in the mail on a Saturday morning, he was it. Like, he gave you the New Japan news that he knew, or at least it was given to him. Oh wow, there was it got bad for a while. That's really disappointing. It's not like I sit there and read the newsletter anymore. But
can you blame him though, given the slop that's been served up recently? Of course, not necessarily good.
I mean, okay, fine, but like, you're going to sit there and give me a fucking 9-page review of Monday Night Raw? I don't know. I think more. I don't know. You know what? That's a. I have no idea what his audience base is right now. Like, I would think his audience base is primarily AEW fans. And then, like, fans who watch everything, I would think. I don't think he has a lot of WWE fans getting a newsletter.
They hate him.
Yeah. So who the fuck's his audience at this point? If he's not, and again, if I would think it would be like the person in our Discord, or the person in a Noah Discord, or like I would think that would be the prime target audience. And that just said, well, I ain't watching this shit. All right, well, okay. I mean, a lot of people could fucking sit there and make the same argument to us to a certain degree, but okay. I think we cover. I mean, between your everyday audio, keep that in mind, people. Every fucking show Joel was on, ready to go, giving you a solid 15. Dave's not even trying. I mean, this is not shit on Dave Meltzer hour, because again, I appreciate everything that he's done, but boy, it sounds like those days are fucking over. I still, by the way, I still expect my Hall of Fame email. Let's not mistake this critique for you. You know what? I think you do it. I think you get it and you do it. I don't even do it anymore. I don't think I did last year's.
Oh, I do it. Yeah, I take it seriously. I like doing it. You
like feeling important in this pro wrestling world, don't you?
Yeah. I feel like I've got a responsibility to balance out the shit ballots that get submitted.
I think it's good. I'm there to support you.
Yeah, I listen to all the audio. I do the research. I ask people who are in the know, and I feel like I've got a duty to put in a sensible ballot for each of the regions. I've earned.
Let me ask you this: for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and again, don't be embarrassed. I want an honest opinion. Are you the number one guy?
What, on the ballot?
No, I'm saying in general. Like if people want,
yeah,
I would say so too. I would say you are the number one, and by association, that means me too as well. Thank you very much.
Yeah. we are both number ones.
We are the number ones. A and B. I'll take the B spot. You deserve the A spot. You do most of the work. All right, enough of us sucking each other off. Well, unless you want to continue on.
Let's carry on. Let's do more circle jerking. Because do you remember, Damon, when we were discussing Dominion a month or so ago, and I delivered a stark warning, State of the Union, saying the summer of House of Torture was upon us.
Yeah,
and that was going to be the dominant narrative moving forward. Goodies and baddies, cops and robbers, and people were kind of, Joel, you're overreacting. Yeah. And as the G1 started, people were like, oh, no, that you were talking rubbish. They've been relegated to the third match or the fourth match. I don't know, the G1 matches. There's only one semi-main event. He's talking rubbish. Don't listen to Joel. Joel doesn't know what he's on about. Well. Now who's laughing?
No one, because it came true.
No. Evil's laughing. Ha. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretend to smoke the cigarette, the jazz cigarette.
Smoking a pack. Yeah, I don't like to say I told you. I wanted to be wrong, but tell me I was wrong.
Yeah, you were not at all. Not at all.
How's that 10-point plan looking from President Tanahashi?
Oh, boy. Come on.
Point number 3, reducing interference. not going so well, is it, President?
I mean, I honestly wish he didn't say anything at all, because now everyone will reference that. What the fuck is this? You said it, but again, it is pro wrestling, 100%. But there has to be some trust, don't you think? Don't you think that there has to be, in that moment, I didn't feel pro wrestled. You know what I mean? I to a certain degree, I did, but I kind of took it as, all right, maybe they're just addressing concerns that a ton of people have. And I didn't expect pro wrestling president Hiroshi Tanahashi to work his fans, but we're working it. Well, what do you think he does? We have a question here from Mark. He says, what exactly does President Tanahashi do? He shows up. Yeah, he shows up to these meetings, and everyone fawns over him. He's able to be brought to for sponsors, and if you bring in Hiroshi Tanahashi to the meeting, yes, I know he's a star. Yes, I watched you on TV.
He's getting up on the chair, doing the air guitar.
Yep, yeah. In the board meeting,
posing for photos, doing that thing with his hand.
Absolutely. He's like, let me give you a counter offer on your solution with an air guitar. Oh, where do we sign? President? It's just a lot of grandstandy kind of things. I don't think he is sitting there with one of those old-timey accountant visors on, balancing the books, or
he's got the abacus out
he's sliding beads. we gotta
one of those peaked hats, where there's like it's got the visor but no bit at the top.
Absolutely, yeah. Just all disheveled desk. He's just all like, oh, we gotta cut corners somewhere. Yeah. No, I don't. I cannot imagine his presidency being anything but a nice little, a very famous face that they can card out to do all the things that we talked about. Kind of like the president. Never mind. I'm not going to go there. Come on. You see what you did? You gave me the fucking hook. I'm like a little fishy swimming upstream.
An unfair comparison, because one president has ruined something that used to be great and has just brought a load of hate and divisions and huge schisms, and everyone's tearing at each other's throats. But Donald Trump, comparatively, he's doing all right, isn't he?
Listen.
You see what I did there? Did you see what I did? I did my thing.
I did. Now we're going to get canceled because we're what do you be? MAGA?
Yeah, that's it. We're a MAGA podcast now. we can bring back the chunk of the listenership that I ran off in the late 2010s, early 2020s.
Finally, we redeem ourselves. All right, listen. Where do you want to go? Because I know we have a lot of thoughts.
We go through it chronologically because it kind of tells a story, doesn't it? So I think if we start on Saturday. So Ariake Arena, 4,558 fans in there, which is crap. That's not a good number at all. And let's go all the way. We'll skip through the undercard and go straight to semi-final, G1 Climax. King of Darkness Evil beats Yota Tsuji, 18 minutes, 1 second. Referee stoppage. The match was crap. Like it had its moments. There were some bits I thought, oh yeah, it's good. It's kicking off now. But then built up to that big spot where Don Farley came in and he did the fat fuck fall, or the Don fall, whatever we're calling it now. And I got scared then because that has always been one of the most protective finishes in the whole of New Japan. And I was panicking because I was like, oh shit, is a 2025 bad luck fall still as deadly as it was back then in kayfabe? And it turns out that it was. So he locked him in the Darkness Scorpion and the referee called it because Tsuji was unresponsive. And then I was just like, my stomach dropped and I was just like, oh. And I was just went, okay, they're going to restart it, right? I was in disbelief. I was in denial. I was going through all the stages of grief. I was just like, I was sitting there with my falafel wrap in Mr. Fluffle with my Palestine sugar-free cola, thinking, okay, just waiting. Right, come on, Red Shoes, going to go to the VAR assistant, check the replay, be like, oh no, actually there was something that was untoward there. There was someone broke the rules somewhere. We're going to have to restart this match, but nope, that was it. Winner, the thing graphic came up, Evil, winner of the match. So I was just like, oh, okay, they're doing this. And I was on the show with you a few days ago saying how I thought it was absolutely imperative that Yota Tsuji not lose another G1 Climax final 2 years in a row. Again, I said, hold my beer. Not a problem. I fixed it. I got you. And a lot of discussion, people thinking, Tsuji got concussed on the bad luck fall. WFH Wrestling says, is New Japan's concussion protocol real or kayfabe? Like Yota Tsuji was declared fit to wrestle the next day, so he made a miraculous recovery from that. He wasn't concussed. That was the planned finish of the match. It was executed and planned as it was supposed to go. But at that point, I was just like, what the fuck?
I promise you, I love New Japan Pro Wrestling. I just want to put out that disclaimer before this particular rant goes out to the masses. What in the gigantic fuck did we just see? Like who? This was a moment where I'm watching on my lovely, comfortable couch, and I had the remote in my hand, and I just threw the remote up in the air. My arms just went in the air, and I could not believe that they had the audacity, the utter audacity to do something like that. There was no injury. There was no stoppage because somebody was hurt. That was it. That was your finish. What an absolute. Who has naked pictures of somebody's wife somewhere? Like, who's holding somebody hostage? Give me, what is the benefit here? Like, even in the finals, okay, and again, we had Evil that fans were cheering for Evil because he was the New Japan Pro Wrestling homegrown guy. And
yes, this is what I wanted to pick up, because that is a separate conversation. We'll have that later. Yeah. But to me, in this Evil versus Yota Tsuji match, they sounded like they really wanted Yota Tsuji to win.
Yeah.
When Evil won, it sounded like the air was let out of the building. You could have heard a mouse fart in church, or whatever
that's it.
The analogy is.
I could not believe it. Again, we do a show every single week, and we talk about the pluses and the minuses and what it might mean for the company. We do that for 2 hours every fucking week, and that is not the special audio on Patreon, where you can sign up for just a mere $10 a month. And we talk about all the things of where they could go and what they could do and what they need to do and the things that are lacking and the things that the company is struggling with. And Joel, as God is my fucking witness, they do the opposite every time. The only time we brought up Evil being anywhere sniffing even close to where he landed in this G1, we would talk about him as if it were just, in case of emergency, break glass. Like, that would be the only possible thing to have him be in a position where he was. And yet they did it. And they did it at the expense of a guy who, let's be honest, could have absolutely used that win to get to the finals and have that epic match. Now, again, we can sit here and we can fantasy book to kind of get back on the track of where we think it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. It is wasted breath. It is wasted energy, because there is something with this company that they have an absolute issue with any of these young guys, and they're not young. I don't even know why we call them young, only because the people that they do push and they do reward and they do give something back to, they're all there for many, 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 many moons. I don't understand it for a minute. I cannot, I don't know. Joe, I don't know. I don't know what their fascination is with Evil. Please don't listen. If you sit there and tell me that they sell a lot of T-shirts, then you are a fucking T-shirt company who dabbles in pro wrestling at this point, because there is absolutely no reason whatsoever T-shirt sales or merchandise sales, or I don't give a fuck about YouTube views. Who gives a shit? You know what I give a shit about? How many people are buying a fucking ticket? How many people are subscribing? And what is the buzz level of this company? And
Damon, how about we talk about 4,558 people being in this building?
Thank you.
Because I remember back in the day when you get 9,000 or upward of that.
Those days are gone. Those days are gone. And what do you think those 4,000 people in the building felt, Joel? You think do you think they liked what they saw there when they penguined out of the fucking arena back onto the fucking subway, back on the train? But a lot of buzz. Couldn't wait to tune into. Come on. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're doing. I have absolute, genuine, not. Let's go on a little podcast rant concerns. I have legitimate concerns for the people that are running this company for a myriad of reasons. This is the most glaring and the most obvious and the most, what in the blue fuck are we doing? But there's drips and drabs all over the place, from this to the fucking nonsense forbidden door bullshit. It's like our involvement with various companies of various sizes that you're just like, what are we doing? Just up and down, up and down. And this is not a new beginning. This is not a Dominion. This is not a, there are two things on the New Japan Pro Wrestling calendar that a ton of people parachute in on, and that you can hook and you can hopefully build. And G1 Wrestle Kingdom. We all know
G1 main event, G1 final, Wrestle Kingdom main event. They fucked both of them.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable, Joel. I cannot. I'm begging, and I am on my hands and knees to the pro wrestling gods. I will sacrifice. What do you want? What do you want, pro wrestling gods? I'll do it, because guess what? I'm begging and pleading. We need a change in the voice, the pencil, the book, whatever you want to fucking call it. We need a change. The rope that I have given this company, based off of an epic run, we were on the cusp of breaking through in the States. We were right there, and it fell apart. I've given this company so much rope based off of that time period, and I got to be honest with you, I don't have any more rope to give. Like that was the last inch I had of rope, and now I feel like I got to let go. My hands are fucking bleeding. I have blisters on my hand from giving this company rope, and it hasn't gotten better. There have been moments where you're like, okay, here we go. And, we would always giggle and we're back. And blah. This has been going on for over 5 fucking years. If a girlfriend treated you like New Japan Pro Wrestling treated you, you would kick her to the fucking curb. You would be like, get up the street. I am done. Yet, here we are. 5 years in. And I can honestly sit here and tell you...
376.
Right. I can honestly sit here and tell you we are in just the mud. And there is nothing that gives me hope. There's nothing that gives me a shred of, okay, let's go. Because we'll have moments, and we have an incredibly talented roster, Joel. I don't know if you know this. Incredibly talented. And yet, here we are. We're just fucking in the mud. And we could fantasy book till the cows come home. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. And unless there's this miraculous, miracle, creative influx, maybe they take ecstasy. Maybe they take our favorite Class A drug, Joel, and they come up with some creative fucking things. I don't see it. I don't see it this year. I think 2025 is an absolute fucking wash.
Yeah, the response amongst fans, even amongst wrestlers, for this particular result, this particular piece of booking, having Yota Tsuji, lose in the semi-finals of the G1 Climax, like it was one of the few moments where everyone was on the same page and everyone was bearing it. Everyone from fans of all promotions, and we were like, that this was the thing that united the pro wrestling world, not the nonsense that came the day later. But it was quite extraordinary. And look, I can just sort of copy and paste in the weekly rant that I do about the failure to push the new guys. I'm bored of saying it at this point, but if you don't book them like stars, they're not going to be treated like stars, and we are creating a massive, massive problem for ourselves down the line when these guys are just booked like fucking losers. They're losers. Right, like remember how we crowned these Reiwa Three Musketeers? We got all excited about that, didn't we? Putting on our clown makeup and excited about what accolades that Narita and Umino and Tsuji would get. And what have they got between them? A run with the white belt, a New Japan Cup, TV title run, a couple of never six-man runs. It's just pathetic. Like,
it is
really. Like, why should I cheer for these guys? They're fucking geeks at this point. And I'm annoyed with myself for calling it after Dominion and saying like, well, this is what's happening. This is what we're going to get. And then sort of allowing myself to forget that and think, oh no, we sat here, Damon, a few days ago, being like, oh, it's definitely going to be Tsuji versus Takeshita in the final. Nope. I should have listened to myself because I was right then, and I just sort of allowed myself to forget it. And more fool me for doing that. And we'll stick a pin in that for now, Damon, because I think the actual final itself, the Takeshita versus Evil match, deserves its own conversation, and I think there's sort of different angles to approach that. But we'll just continue with this in chronological order, because after this match there was the 8th match, Konosuke Takeshita defeating Zack Sabre Jr., 26 minutes, 46 seconds, Raging Fire. I just watched this in a kind of fugue state where I was just still stunned. Like I was still in shock about Evil beating Yota Tsuji, that nothing from this match registered with me. Like the biggest disparity between the quality of a match and my personal enjoyment of it, because I think everyone was, this is, I think, quite a universal experience. We were just all in a bit of a daze after that. Like we'd been punched in the face. So it was quite difficult to appreciate the excellent work that Zack and Takeshita did. I mean, I rewatched it today. It was interesting to see Zack look pissed. He looked pissed. So I'm wondering if that was some legit anger he had at the fact that the piece of booking in the prior match, because he looked really, really grumpy, and it definitely helped the match. And it was a brilliant match. Really worthy of a G1 Climax semi-final, and they improved upon the match that they had in the blocks. And Zack was just ruthless, going after Takeshita's arm. Like every time Takeshita was leaving an arm out, Zack was snagging it, just through some really nasty submission work. Most memorable spot was the top rope Raging Fire, where it looked like Zack was just dropped on his head from the top rope. Orc by Orc West says, is Zack all right after that top rope travesty? They can keep their AEW nonsense where it belongs. But brilliant match, but just did not enjoy it because I was just upset about Yota Tsuji losing in the previous match.
The problem was, and you're right, the match was really outstanding. I mean, two fucking stallions in that ring. That were, I would think that they were back there watching on monitors or whatever they have back there, backstage behind the curtain. And, we always talk about, oh my God, how difficult it would be to follow that match, follow whatever. There is something to also be said about following a match where the crowd is just right. Like how do we get them back? How do we find a way to wake them up, get them a Red Bull, or I don't know. Like that's a tough spot to be in, but they I think they stepped up to the fucking plate on that. That was I would probably give them an extra point star bubblegum, whatever the fuck you use to grade a match, just for that alone. Because truth be told, it took me a decent amount of time for me to get over well, what the fuck does it matter? who wins this match. Because at the end of the day, either they're going to be evil, which, okay, they should, and or, oh my God, they're actually going to do this evil thing. Like,
yeah, I convinced myself at that point, Damon, that evil was winning the whole G1 Climax.
Me too. Again, if you wanted to give me the idea and the song and dance about, well, we wanted our top guy to beat that evil, pardon the pun, no good, rule-breaking piece of shit who's does everything he can to spoil our fun. Okay. And you saw the online comments, and you saw the people that were kind of like, well, okay, but I'm having a hard time hitching my wagon to what a lot of people are calling a part-time New Japan guy. So while I don't necessarily have that same hardcore feeling, draw the line, I can't possibly root for a guy who isn't full-time New Japan Pro Wrestling. That I hear them and I see them, and I kind of get where their headspace is, because again, these are this. We talk about feeling like wounded pups when it comes to our wrestlers running off into the sunset with a bag of money. Like, we know that feeling. I can't imagine a hardcore Japanese local, and how gun shy they might be to any sort of outsider getting any props. Okay, so that said, it took me a while to get into this fucking match. And it was I want to say it was my fault. It wasn't my fault. It's their fault. It really is their fault. But they turned it up. They found a way. I thought the match was outstanding. I think, look, if as much as we are frustrated and we are tempted to just say, fuck this promotion, there is a warm, comforting blanket knowing that we have guys that can have great pro wrestling matches still in this company. It's just a matter of
wrestlers, isn't it? We believe in the wrestlers,
not the
and we
wrestlers.
know every single one of those wrestlers, when they get the tap on the shoulder, they can go.
Yep.
And it's not them, because they are doing their best to turn the chicken shit into chicken salad. And
you can see the frustration on their faces and in their body language. Like, we have a roster that is, this is not pro wrestling. Give me a mic and I'm going to, like, these guys are fucking frustrated. I mean, you shared with me just the one fucking Callum Newman one where the frustration is real and palpable. And he discusses things that we've talked to a million people about when it comes to United Empire and the frustrations there. And trust me, he's dropping little key little nuggets that we've talked about for months when it comes to United Empire. And I'm sure a lot of that is shared on our Patreon. And a lot of times we dip our toes in, and, we get TJP's wife chiming in and DMing, and, we get it. But
Damon, is it incoherent? The stuff that I put out in the deli is so contradictory, and it's incoherent because I'll get stuff from people from one sphere of the company and another sphere of the company, and then I hear stuff like, the wrestlers, they're really determined, they're going to work their socks off in this G1, they're feeling good backstage, like the vibes are good, they're all pulling together, and then something like this happens, and it's like, they were pissed, like they're furious, guys yelling at other people. So that's, again, it just becomes really, really frustrating to cover when you got 20 guys, well, 19 guys, who went out there and fucking busted their asses to try and put on a great tournament, because they hear all this stuff. Like, they know that we're down bad. They know the criticisms. They've read them all, and they are, breaking their backs trying to make it right. And then shit like this happens. And I think case in point, right, this match, Zack versus Takeshita, where they went out there and killed themselves. and nobody cared because they were just in shock and disbelief about what happened previously.
Yeah. I feel bad for the guys. I really do. Because they are, I mean, G1 is a grind no matter what. It's a fucking meat grinder. And a lot of these guys, they're frustrated. And we cover it. This is their livelihood. This is how they put fucking food on the table. All the feedback that we get. And that's another thing too. You did mention it, how and I don't think it's ever been this bad. And correct me if I'm wrong if it has been. But there are absolute pockets of people that are not on the same page at all. There are people that are sticking their fingers in their ears and la-la-laing. There are people that are screaming at the top of the fucking mountain, and we have people in the middle. And our job is become quite difficult, let's be honest, because it's balancing the people that are at an 11 and the people that are at a 2 and trying to find that middle ground of, okay, what really is happening. But look, when it bleeds over into post-match interviews and post-match comments, I was giggling at that Callum Newman one. I was giggling because it's like, well, here we are. It was just one of those things where the seeds were planted long ago, and they kept going and going and going and going and going, and now we have a full fucking grown weed. We have a well rooted weed. It's not the wrestlers. Truth be told, it never has been the wrestlers. They're busting their ass. They're just floating on a rudderless ship right now. And it has a pirate flag on it. And that's evil. And it is what it is. What can I say? If you're working there, talk me out of it. But right now, it's like, I don't feel like anyone is particularly happy with where we are. And if you wanted to tell me, okay, this is the direction we're going, and the gates are X, and we've grown, our ticket sales, because don't give me YouTube numbers. Don't give me, that means nothing. Those are phony fucking numbers. I'm sorry.
This is a touring company. Their bread and butter, people buying tickets and turning up to the shows. That is the only metric that is worth discussing. Yeah.
And if you got a problem with that, you can fax them. Okay? That's what they do. This is the companies, how they make their money. People aren't happy. I'm sure people got light envelopes coming home from G1, I think. And add that to the light envelopes for this Forbidden Door bullshit. Not a lot of happy campers, I don't think. I don't think there are a lot of happy campers at all.
Yeah, I know. We're obviously not blaming Evil here. I'm going to say nice things about Evil later on this podcast, but I'm sure even when he was told, you're going to beat Yota Tsuji and go to the final, he's like, are you sure about that? And look, so that set the table of the final where we got Evil versus Konosuke Takeshita, and at that point, I was just thinking, my thoughts on that final were like Game of Thrones reference, Cersei Lannister blowing up the set. I was seeing if, do we know some people going to the venue who know anything about IEDs? Can we, get something, stuff applied and take out some of the booking committee maybe? Just let's just blow the whole thing up. But it was just really weird because we had, you touched on it before, this bizarre kind of tension between the heel-face alignment of Konosuke Takeshita, where he's quite clearly, to me, earlier on in this very tour, being positioned as a heel, the cocky outsider invader from a different company. Yeah, Rocky Romero with it. Rocky Romero into it, doing cheating stuff, heel-coded behavior, and then halfway through the tour, that switched, and he became a different character, and he was working from beneath in all his matches, and my knee, and pulling sad faces and stuff, and that led to some quite interesting and extraordinary reactions from particularly the Japanese fans on Twitter. So looking at the posts on Twitter saying like, oh, Konosuke Takeshita versus Evil is your G1 Climax final. And a lot, like I would say 70% people saying, I hope Evil wins. I don't like this outsider coming in and winning the G1 Climax. He's a DDT guy or he's an AEW guy. This is AEW, big league in New Japan. This is not good. And we'll revisit that later when we talk about the outcome of the G1 Climax. But yeah, it was definitely notable and set quite an interesting dynamic going into the final, where it was hard to, if you were to go purely by the response of the admittedly very online Japanese fans, the kind of fan that would tweet something, which I know it's not a monolith, and there were lots of different groups of domestic fans who like different things, and I'm sure there were plenty who were excited about Takeshita. But just taking that admittedly limited sample, we're going into this Evil versus Takeshita match wondering who the fans are going to cheer for here, which is not ideal when, this is not, I don't think this is something that New Japan did deliberately.
Like, I'm sitting here thinking, Joel, okay, the guy that we thought would be the best pick to win G1 won G1. But how they got there, it was just, we're going to take a flamethrower.
Didn't they?
Yeah, we're just going to take a fucking flamethrower to everything behind it. Like I know we're going to talk about it, but I'm left with, where do we go from fucking here? Is it just as simple as, okay, well, he beat Zach, he won the fucking G1, away we go. There's our main event. Like, is that simple? At what cost? Yeah, this G1 to me. What's that?
Yeah, they've got a lot of work to do there in figuring out who is Konosuke Takeshita. And again, we'll talk about this later, but I just thought it was really remarkable going into the G1 final itself, where I was just fascinated to see how the two wrestlers how the fans would react to them.
Mm. Yeah. There was a lot of that, and there were times in the match, Evil picking up the trophy and hitting the turnbuckles, and it felt like he got more cheers than anything else.
So I want to jump in, Damon. Sorry, but I think what's also really interesting, when that was going on, Fightful releasing a statement saying Tony Khan had nothing to do with this. So Tony Khan distancing himself from this tournament, this final, and saying, oh, I've seen all these things about Evil being in the final, and that's because of me. It's nothing to do with me.
Yeah, why?
No one was saying that. I'm the most online New Japan fan there is. I'm on all the fucking Discords and Twitter seeing all the shit. I did not see one person saying, oh, Evil's in the final because of Tony Khan. And I know we've sort of built up this reputation where we're this kind of straw man that praises everything that New Japan does, never blames them, and just hates everything that Tony Khan does. Which, when I see that, I just sort of roll my eyes, because it's obviously people that's not listening to our podcast, because we have been throwing plenty of shit at Gedo and the New Japan as a whole, because they have got plenty to answer for. Like, I'm past the point of blaming Tony Khan for stuff, but him saying, "Oh, I had nothing to do with this," that was really interesting to me, because no one was saying that.
No,
and it kind of created a Streisand effect, where him saying, I had nothing to do with this, made me think he had something to do with this. Now, I'm not saying specifically he said, right, I want Evil, I want Takaki Watanabe in the G1 Climax final. I don't think he did that. But what it did start making me ask myself was, well, okay, was there a directive or an agreement for Takeshita to win the G1 Climax? That's not out of the realms of the possibility. In fact, that's probable, right? We heard all the industry rumors about there being this sort of cross-promotional push to get him into a megastar. So yeah, that's probable. So then I'm thinking, could there have been some sort of directive or agreement that he needed to be a babyface? He needed to be positioned as a babyface, because that was quite a swerve, as I said, with the way he was booked in the tournament. So that's the booking shorthand to get Takeshita cheered as a babyface would be to put him against the biggest heel in the company. So when Tony Khan said that, and I thought, well, no one's accused him of that. Then I started thinking, actually, maybe it is because of Tony Khan.
I mean, maybe if we're doing Tony conspiracy theory, maybe Evil was a guy that he was comfortable having a fun. He wasn't losing. I don't know. Look. I'm going to be honest with you. I think you're right in that there absolutely were conversations to be had between AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling, because that guy was winning the tournament, right? I don't think that there's any question. That could have been a 3-minute conversation. That could have been a 25-minute conversation. That could have been a conversation that lasted a span of 5 weeks. Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares? I don't think the Evil thing. And look, I'm not letting New Japan Pro Wrestling off the hook here. You know what I mean? Like if New Japan Pro Wrestling wants to try and deflect it and blame Tony Khan or whatever, okay, I get it. Wouldn't be the first time somebody's done that. I find it so hard to believe that he would have any kind of say in who and how and what. Now the absolute flip, of he was working as a heel. Let's make no mistake about it. And then it did seem, this is a sympathetic babyface here. We're worried about a knee. We're worried about, and it would just feel like, wow, there's something pivoted here. At the end of the day, Joel, I'm happy with the guy who won. But I just see the trail of dead behind him. And I just wonder to myself, how is this guy that big? And is that guy that like just the guy? And or are we confident enough that he is that guy who's going to lead us into the future, that we're willing to take a blowtorch to everyone behind him?
Well, I'm going to pause. Let's move away from Takeshita and Evil for now, because there was some stuff to unpick on the undercard of the finals.
Yes.
Notably, the re-debut of Oscar Leube and Yuto Nakashima, now rebranded, part of the War Dogs, brought in by David Finlay, as Yuto-Ice and Oscar in capital letters. So what did you think of that and the presentation of Oscar and Yuto-Ice?
I'm going to be honest. It's going to take me a while to warm up to this version of what we have. What were they called in Rev Pro? What were they? What was the gimmick that they had? The Young Blood. That's right.
And now they're the Knockout Brothers.
The Knockout Brothers. I think they can't use Young Blood because of the famous singer. Young Blood. I don't know. Do you know who Young Blood is? Are you familiar with Young Blood?
No.
Okay. I mean, he's fine. So, yeah, I don't... They looked weird together. I'm not going to lie.
No, you're wrong. They looked amazing. They're my favorite.
Really?
Wrestler, particularly Yuto-Ice. I love Yuto-Ice.
Wow.
And I think he had the swag. He had the swagger. He had that charisma. And it's a sort of like cheesy 90s wannabe rapper kind of gimmick.
Yeah.
Like they both looked like they walked off the set of a mid-90s MTV music video, or two different music videos. Loiber's out there looking like Undertaker. Untertaker. But I love Yuto-Ice already. He's my favorite wrestler because he looks like he believes in the gimmick. And I thought the backstage promo was excellent. I love the catchphrase. What is it? Like, big up. That's so cool. I love it. And I just like his attitude. He's cool. Okay. He's a cool guy.
Okay. It's going to take me a little time to warm up to this one, I think. Let's see. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. You love him. I will say lukewarm at best, because in 2 years' time, they're a middle of the card comedy gimmick. That's what I'm afraid of. In 2 years' time, they're not going to be a name that you associate with. Oh, these guys are fucking. Here we go again. It was a debut. It was a one-shot thing so far. They had their little debut. I don't know if I'm just being overly cynical. Maybe I'm just. I didn't feel this one, and it felt a little bit hokey. And I'm going to. I have reservations where we will be in 2 or 3 years with these two. We'll see. I wasn't feeling it.
Okay, you're wrong. That's
All
okay.
right.
I mean, I think it had just the right level of hokiness. I think in these days, it's just like like the fully formed version of Yuto-Ice, to me, just pops off the screen. And he had the charisma, and I mean this in a complimentary way, of early Enzo Amore before he disappeared up his own arse. That's the vibe I got from him. So yeah, I'm excited by Knockout Brothers. I'm looking forward to that. But other stuff that happened on this. No, we went into this card. Well, I went into this undercard thinking there's going to be loads of angles going down. We're going to get something with the War Dogs turning on David Finlay. We're going to get Callum Newman doing something like ditching United Empire or usurping another faction. We're going to get Tanahashi's retirement opponent announced. We got nothing. There was nothing. After Knockout Brothers re-debut, there was fuck all.
We're just creatively bankrupt, Joel. We are out of ideas. Yeah, it felt like I was hoping for more. I was hoping for a couple surprises. I mean, and that was a good. Listen, as much as I feel like I shit on the debut, I didn't hate it. It was just like it's going to take me a little bit to warm up to this. But that's it. Like that I was really hoping for something. I don't know. I feel like I'm clutching at straws. I just wanted something, and I turned off. I turned off these shows just thinking, what are we doing? What the fuck is happening here? I don't know. And the more I talk about it, and the more I'm left with more questions than answers. To be honest with you. All right. Yeah.
So I see stuff like I noticed stuff in the backstage comments and on the undercards. New Japan, if yesteryear you could take that to the bank, you'd be like, oh, there's definitely something happening, and it's definitely going to be paid off within a certain time frame. And now I'm thinking, I'm sort of going crazy. Like, have I just imagined all this? Is this like a narrative that I've just made up in my own brain that is just never going to get paid off? Like, am I doing all the heavy lifting and just sort of imagining storylines and twists and
but that's
swerves that are not there? Is this stuff going to get paid off at some point, or is this just like, oh, you can imagine your own storylines for New Japan?
Right. I mean, but that's like the idea of logic and and again, we're not in their heads. We can't sit here and pretend that we are. But like, is this a case of the lunatics running the asylum? And the lunatics just kind of spouting out shit that, it's probably not going to come to pass. And they're just saying shit in the hopes of it'll catch on and then they'll have to go a certain route. Like, it does feel like
this guys just saying shit. They're just saying words.
Yeah. That's not good.
And what made this harder to swallow, Damon, was that there was all this nothing happening at the same time that they finally announced Wrestle Kingdom tickets, where the ringside seats, 1 million yen, which is 10 times higher than the ringside seats are for the G1 finals, 5 times higher than the ringside seats were for Keiji Muto's retirement. So, across the board, these tickets are really expensive. because I'm trying to get tickets. Like John Carroll is trying to sort tickets out for me and Paul from Voices Wrestling. So we're hoping to all be sitting together. And Arena A, which is what we're planning for, so that used to be 25,000 yen, and that's now up to 30,000 yen. So they're just bumping up prices all over the place with nothing announced. Right, the big draw for this is Tanahashi's retirement opponent, and they gave us nothing for this. So, they talked about how, they want this show to be a sellout and all these things going for it. Aaron Wolf debut and all that stuff. But the pricing of this is like, it seems detached from reality to me.
You said $1 million yen for ringside?
Correct.
Do you know what that is? US dollar conversion? I'm just looking it up right now. This is a seat. $6,700. That seems preposterous to pay for a pro wrestling show. 1 million yen. We're at 68 cents on the dollar, or 68 cents on the yen. $6,772 for a ringside pro wrestling seat? And
a question that Tarzan Boy says, with the price of the ringside Wrestle Kingdom tickets revealed, do we at least get to participate in the Rambo if we buy them?
I would hope so. Holy shit. Joel, I'm telling you flat out, I don't think there's much of anything I would pay $6,700 for. I wouldn't. Do you know what you can do for $6,700? You know what beautiful island you could go to? You sit on a beach with a drink in your hand.
If someone offered me the tickets, I'd be trying to sell them. I'd be like, just give me the fucking cash.
And again, you're getting Tanahashi retirement. You're getting Aaron Wolf. Okay. Again, we're pushing $7,000 for a fucking seat to a. This is not. Nobody's going into this thinking, well, I'm going to be seeing the best pro wrestling I could possibly. You might get one or two really, really great matches. 6,000. Joe, you're not spending $6,000 on a ringside seat, correct?
No, I mean, okay. Even the 30,000 yen for the Arena A tickets, I was a bit like, I was sort of like, do I even want to go to this show anymore? Like, I'm full up for going to Tokyo, and I just maybe save that money and eat some fucking great food instead of going to this. I just don't know what to expect anymore.
Hang out with Manabu.
Yes,
he never goes. He would go to the fucking to the dome, hang out, have a good time, have some laughs, and we would be like, dude, we will buy you a ticket. We just come with us, just to hang out. Go to, you're here. You just got to walk through the fucking doors. No, I'm good. Do that. That's the gimmick you do. Because here's the thing, you don't want to miss the outside stuff. That's fun. That's a fun time. But the show itself, go get some fucking good food. Oh, the show, please. I cannot get over those rings. And here's the thing with the dome. For those of you who have never been to the dome, that ringside seat, you might as well be in the fucking parking lot. It's like you're like 20 yards away from the actual ringside. There's the ramp, and then there's the space, and then there's even more. Like you're a good, seriously, 10 yards away from ringside. That's $6,000. Oh boy. Well, here's the thing too. So I have friends who are looking to go over, not during Wrestle Kingdom. I want to say Octoberish, right? The hotels are so expensive now. Like the prices of lodging and flights and everything is ridiculous. It's like it's double what we were paying 5 years ago. It's like where you would have spent like $3,000, $4,000 for a plane trip to and fro and a decent hotel. That's doubled. You're like in the 6s and 7s. And that's turning up some people away. Like, I don't know, I can't fucking justify this. And now, again, ringside, we're talking, mind you, but $6,000 seems absolutely fucking mental for any type of event, let alone a pro wrestling event.
And the attendance for this show, for the G1 Climax Final Sunday, was 6,870. So by comparison, last year's final, which a different venue, that was at Sumo Hall, did 8,056.
Yeah.
So we got over 1,000 fewer fans in the building. There's some WrestleNomics stuff here comparing the average attendances. So the average attendance was dropped for the entire tour. So last year, average attendance for G1 was 2,562. This year, 2,267. Total attendance last year, 48,683. This year, 43,078. And look, there's all the mitigating factors. We can, do all the song and dance about, this arena was closed, this arena was refurbished, and dodgy venues, hard to get, and it was very hot, and cost of living crisis, But, if this was a company that was firing on all cylinders and putting out must-watch shows and delivering wall-to-wall bangers and creating new stars, then I would be like, okay, yeah, maybe there's something else going on here. But I'm not going to rehash this. Maybe we should just not talk about the attendance and go straight on to talking about the match, unless there's something you want to say about the attendance.
Well, the problem is, and I'm a big proponent of, hey, you know what? You just can't take one show in a bubble, and it's either things happen, blah blah blah, weather, whatever. We are on a continuous trend of comparing previous year's attendance, and it's been down across the board. Has there been one? I'm trying to really think. Has there been one where it's been like a head and shoulders above? If it's been above, it's been like just by like an ass hair. There was a little stretch where there was a bit of year-on-year growth, but it sort of nosedived with these like last few shows, basically. It's not good. It really isn't. I don't care how you spend it. It's a portion of the calendar year that is incredibly vital. And at the very least, you're looking to help grow and build an audience for people who were like, that show was fucking awesome. The next time they're in town, sign me up. I don't think they're getting that. In fact, I think they're getting the opposite. I think they're getting, what the fuck was that? And I spent that much money? Please, I'm not making that mistake again. That's a problem. We said it. We've been saying it. Well, fucking someone listen in that goddamn company. We know you listen, but are you listening? All right. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, well, let's talk about the final itself then. So Konosuke Takeshita defeats Evil, 26 minutes, 26 seconds, Raging Fire. We have a shout out to Walker and Chris, who I thought did a really outstanding job. Like, they were trying their best to hold things together narratively when, the early portion of the match, it was just going completely off the rails, like in terms of all the bullshit and interference and shenanigans. And yeah, I thought they did a really good job trying to create a coherent storyline whilst there was all this crap going on, and the fan base split and divided like that. And I mean, they kept going back to this line, which I was wondering if this is a line that they come up with by themselves, or if it was being fed to them about uniting the pro wrestling world. Well, they didn't look very united to me, Tony. But yeah, I just wanted to throw some love their way. I thought they did a really outstanding job there.
Yeah, I mean, the hardest part about being a pro wrestling commentator is when that what is being presented isn't up to snuff, and you got to sell it. That's a tough road sometimes, but I think they did a very good job. I think they've built chemistry between the two. Like in the beginning, it did feel like they were both trying to fucking find their spot and their role in commentating, but I think over time they've really become a nice fit. They're not stepping on each other. They know when to interject. They know what to interject with. Yeah, I mean, look, is it sometimes they're a little over the top with it? Yes, but they have a job to do. They're trying to get you pumped. So I think they're doing it. That like with the like I feel bad because it's like they know what's in front of them. You know, they know what they got to do. It's not an easy thing, and to constantly have the energy up when you're jet lagged and your Walker Stewart's fucking sweating through those long pants. He's like, ugh, I can't wait to get these fucking things off in the hotel, peel these things off, and sit in my underwear. It's pretty hot.
Being moved to the back of the arena so he can't fucking see what's going on.
Right.
I want to single him out specifically because he has been excellent on this tour because he's had to do most of these shows by himself or getting like a revolving desk for various people coming in to do the co-commentator role with him. But he's been brilliant. Even when it's just been him by himself, he's been outstanding. And I hope he's not listening to this because I don't want him to realise that he's really good at his job because then it's only a matter of time before he ends up with AEW or WWE. And I don't want that to happen. I'd like him to stay with New Japan. So I don't care how badly you might be getting treated, Walker. You fucking stay where you are because we at least let us have this. Let us have a great commentator, a great commentary team. So Walker, Chris, we love you. But okay, let's get into the match itself because we've done a lot of talking and complaining about the booking and the fact that Evil was in the final in the first place and the fact that Tsuji didn't win and how divisive that was. But I think this match itself, Takeshita versus Evil, deserves better analysis than just talking about the moves and House of Torture cheating and star ratings and stuff like that. Because I don't know where to start with this match because there's so many interesting, fascinating, and I think genuinely enjoyable things about this match that I wasn't expecting coming into this, and I think a lot of it was by accident. I don't think the booking team intended for this to happen. So I think they sort of lucked into what I think turned out to be quite a special match. So the crowd split, which we talked about before, again, and it's hard to know without being in the arena, and I know Fraser has expressed a desire to come, so I'm going to get Fraser on the Patreon, and we're going to talk about that, what his live experience was in the arena, because that's definitely something lost there. Like, I've spoken to people who were in there and have told me what an insane atmosphere it was and how it was split between, there were people cheering for Takeshita and you could hear the people cheering for Evil. They did all the shenanigans early with all the interference from the House of Torture guys. They used Rocky Romero, like the House of Torture with like their 10 members, like single-handedly getting carried out of there by Rocky, which was just absolute. That was staggering to me. Like the ego on that man to be like, well, how about if I just fight them all off by myself and drag them backstage?
Right.
Like, come on, mate, check yourself. That is preposterous. Use of Zack. So Zack Sabre Jr. getting involved and dragging off Ren Narita. Obviously, they've got unfinished business. Ren's got a win over Zack. So you imagine at some point Ren Narita is going to be challenging either Zack Sabre Jr. or it could be not Desmond Wolfe. What's his name? Nigel McGuinness. We could have that at Destruction in Kobe. Nigel McGuinness versus Ren Narita for the IWG.
Let's go.
Yes, could be that. But could be Zack versus Ren. So Zack getting involved in the final as well. And then they kind of stuff you touched on as well, like the way the crowd were responding to things that Evil was doing, like the trophy, when he lifted the trophy. There was a huge pocket of fans that were like, "Hooray!" Like they love that. So like the audacity of Evil, like he really leaned into that, and I feel like the combined effort of him and Takeshita, but I want to sort of give more flowers to Evil here because they made something that on paper looked rubbish and made it really, really memorable. So they got all the bullshit out of the way for the first, 10, 50 minutes, however long it was. But then the second half of the match, I found absolutely gripping. I don't know about you, but I was just really absorbed in it. So the way the crowd reacted to it, like every time Evil teased the Evil move and the crowd were like, Evil! And that was like the whole story of the match. He did that about like 5 times during the match. And there was so much drama in that. And I found myself, despite myself, cheering for Evil. I really wanted Evil to win. And I don't know if that was sort of like sicko, just burn the whole thing down. I wanted to see the meltdown, wanting Evil to win. Or if Evil, by his performance, managed to tap into some little jaded part of me, the same Joel that's been bitching and moaning about the fact he was put in the final in the first place and moaning about House of Torture and the Summer of Eve and how, forced down my throat it is, he made me want him to win. And that, to me, is remarkable that he elicited that response, not just from me, but from lots of people. I put on Twitter, like, be honest, who was rooting for Evil by the end of the match? And a lot of people agreed. A lot of people were like, yes, he got me into it. And yeah, like those Tokon spots, the fighting spirit spots later into the match, like there was one in particular where Evil just did this massive forearm. It was a big meaty smack. And then what he's really good at is like letting those moments breathe. And the crowd just roared for that. And he just took a deep breath in, puffed his chest out, looking around like, fuck yeah, I've remembered who I am. I'm Takaaki Watanabe. I'm fucking good at this. I'm a wrestler. I'm a brawler. I can beat this guy. And just the atmosphere that was built up at that point, the phantom tap when he had Takeshita in the darkness scorpion or whatever it is, and Takeshita slams his hand down on the mat, and the crowd were like, "Oh, he's tapped!" Like they were about to lose their minds because they thought Takeshita had tapped out. And you compare that reaction to the reaction for the against Yota Tsuji, and I'm sure there's like quite a big crossover with similar fans in the building. But whereas they were not happy with him beating Yota Tsuji, they were fucking rabid for the potential of Evil defeating Konosuke Takeshita. I thought, there was that great spot with Takeshita doing the groin suplex. I don't know what to call it, where he just lifted him up by the balls, basically, and did this like kind of German suplex on one leg. I thought Takeshita, his selling has been a bit spotty, but I thought he sold the knee pretty well in this match. I thought, it added to the match rather than distracting me from it. And Evil just getting in one last cheeky low blow, like he couldn't help himself. He'd done all this clean fighting, but then the opportunity was there, and he's like, fuck it, I'm a scorpion, bang, punch you in the balls. And it just, to me, like that final back and forth, it was a really quite magical closing few minutes, which made I really enjoyed the match by the end of it. And it's very hard to evaluate because, as we discussed, the booking, complete fucking mess. And I do not believe that this was the intended outcome. Like this, the alchemy for these two men to create what I thought was a really memorable, really, really special match, or at least a special second half of the match. But, does the second half of the match land as well if you don't have all the shit in the first half of the match? I don't know. But they somehow managed to, turn it into something really memorable. So I'd say a colossal failure of booking, but a triumph of the spirit and the talent and the dedication and the heart of the wrestlers to go out there and make it into something that I ended up absolutely loving.
I think that is an absolute valid point. One thing, I'll take you through the range. So as this was happening, I'm kind of watching, thinking, there's got to be like fucking plants in the crowd or some shit. Like I couldn't believe the idea of people being like, was it one of those things where they were just like, okay, let's burn it down and have a fucking party as it's in the rubble,
right? Like the sort of WWE, like the Royal Rumble thing where Daniel Bryan wasn't coming out, and they just sort of shat all over the whole thing, and WWE like trying all these sort of shorthand things to get the crowd to cheer for Roman Reigns, but the fans just fucking not having it. Right. I was wondering the same thing.
Like, and then I'm like, okay, is it one of those fan kind of takeover moments where it was like, you know what, we're shitting on everything. Now we're just going to fucking tongue in cheek get behind Evil, and this is our middle finger to everything that's happening. But then it slowly turned, and it slowly faded into, no, we actually want this guy to win. I'm sure that they had ideas and spots that they wanted to do in this match. And I promise you that there was a point in this match where they said, all right, this isn't going the way we thought it would go, but the crowd's into it, so let's kind of dip our toes into this water. And there was a point of me where I'm like, they're turning Evil. They're fucking going to turn him. Like this the whole thing has been a setup for Evil to fucking turn on House of Torture, and now he's Mr. Babyface guy. There was plenty of times where I was kind of in that camp of, all right, they're gonna have him lose, but he's a babyface. I would not be surprised if they look back on this and say, Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe that's something we should explore. Yeah, I thought they were put in a very weird position. I thought they were put in an unexpected position. And I think that they were able to think on their feet and kind of lean into it a little bit to make and by them leaning into it, not a ton, but enough to get people to be like, okay, that little trickle becomes a little ripple that becomes a wave. And that's what it felt like. It felt like, okay, we're tongue in cheek rooting for evil, and then it turned by the end of toward the end of the match, we're rooting for evil. Yes, we are. Which doesn't happen a ton. Like, you get the sarcastic tongue in cheek, I'm going to root for this guy, and he, you get that in this day and age. But I don't think you get that, and then you continue on with it so much so that now we are rooting for this guy. Yeah, I thought they did a really good job considering the fucking cards they were dealt. Now, do I want to see a shit ton of interference? Do I want to see a lot of nonsense? No, again, if you give me pure New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 final, I'll take that every fucking day of the week. That said, they were able to tap into something that, and again, they might just turn their back on it, Joel, and be like, well, that happened, and we're continuing on, fingers and ears, la, 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 la. But if they had any brains and any guts, they might want to kind of lean into what happened that night, because I think there's something there, and it's something that's unexpected. Okay, now we got to rip out that page in a notebook and come up with something new, and how can we take advantage of this? They won't.
Sorry, Tsuji, Umino, Uemura, you got to wait another 2 years for your moment, because we're in the evil redemption story now.
The redemption arc. Yeah. Who would have thought of that? Yeah. I mean, now that you say that, do I want that? Look, I'm going to be honest with you. We're square one with every one of those guys. Like, we're no further along. Like, if you were to map it out, we're like in a scale of Young Lion to New Japan Pro Wrestling, guy we're leaning on as a top guy. We're probably in the lower half. We're still not even in. I don't even think we're halfway for a lot of these guys. And this G1 did no one favors. Name me any one of those guys that turned out better after G1, Joel. None of them. None of them turned out better before G1 than after G1.
Well, I would put it to you that Evil did. I would argue after this match, his stock has increased.
Well, yeah. But like Yota Tsuji, I feel like I got a mush mouth today. You help me out. Remember? Go down the list. Go down to Callum Newman. Like, did anybody come out of this fucking G1 brighter? I dare say not.
Not in terms of the booking. I mean, in terms of performance, yes. But hey, I've got a cool story here on the chat. John Carroll's on the chat.
Hi, John.
John said he gave Manabu a free ticket to New Year Dash last year.
Is that right?
So he had 2 tickets to the show, but his partner decided she didn't want to go. And he wanted to meet John, gave John a load of old Shoe Pro issues he had with Naito on the cover.
Nice.
And then John gave him a ticket to New Year Dash. What a lovely story.
Nice.
I love that.
I do. I love that too. And he actually went in and sat down? All right, good.
Yeah, he must have done. I need to try and reach out to him, because I'm having trouble accessing my Line account. And that was the only way I was in touch with Manabu. But since I moved to the UK and don't use my Thai phone number, it's kind of locked me out there. I'm going to have another go at it, though. But yeah, sorry, getting back to the thing. Like, Daryl has written in, he said, I've never been more intrigued by Evil House of Torture than after that final. Dare I say, Evil looked vulnerable and desperate and showed a sympathetic side for maybe the first time since he left LIJ. Do you expect to see some honour from this group going forward, or was this one night only? And yeah, like, that I think has been the most interesting thing coming out of this, as you touched on, like the fan reaction to Evil Like, is it pure tribalism? Was it fans who are just like, fuck AEW, fuck DDT, like, we are not accepting this dickhead Takeshita coming in and moonwalking his way to a G1 Climax win? Was there, the LIJ legacy, like that residual love that, fans have for LIJ and that Evil used to be part of LIJ? Is it tapping into that? Or is it just purely the fact that Evil, for all, whatever you might say about his presentation, he is a guy who turns up every fucking show, never misses a day of work, doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a G1 final or fucking Road to My Bollocks or whatever it is the show is, multi-man tags. He is there and he is doing his absolute best with a shit gimmick that I don't know if he likes the gimmick. Maybe he does, maybe he likes working like that. But a guy who never gets his flowers, never wins any accolades or glory or gets any praise or any love, just tapping it, like just having that one moment in the sun where people are like, yeah, I want to fucking get behind this guy. I've been watching this guy for years, and he for all the interference and the cheating, he represents New Japan Pro Wrestling 100 times more than Takeshita does. And again, this is just me sort of doing the voice of an imaginary fan. And I think there's also other elements to it as well. And been talking to a few people, and I'm not going to name names, but I think there's been a clear, I'm paraphrasing what this person told me, but there's been a clear, if you look around the audiences for these shows, to me, it seems to me that there's way more kids. Right? There's way more children there, way more families. And you can see the logic of that because it's summer holidays. So that would make sense to me if you mark it up from the angle of, bring families, come along, bring your kids, come and see wrestling. And, I've been told from people at the arenas, there are things like colouring contests, special family areas in the venues, kids getting given like loads of free stuff, stickers, posters, things like that. And, for me, as a parent, that's, appealing to me. I'm like, yeah, this is a good idea. And, these are young children who have not seen all this interference shit, back from the Memphis days or whatever, and are not tired and bored of it. And Evil, maybe he is a guy, like, at the end of the day, we got to discuss New Japan Pro Wrestling from the lens of what we like. And if we like something, we say we like it. If we don't like it, we say we don't like it. But I think it is important to try to acknowledge the domestic fan base, like the Japan in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and acknowledge that that's the core audience, right? Those are the people that are turning up week in, week out and buying the tickets. Mm-hmm. And this, whether or not this is a valid strategy. So, maybe Evil is not there to make the baby faces look great or to make them look heroic, but maybe he's just there to, create that sort of fun sense of chaos and being like, at the end of the day, quite a kid-friendly character, because there's the stuff that I also talked to you, there's no menace to it, right? It's not particularly aggressive or violent. They're just kind of
he
like
smokes cigarettes,
right? Well, okay, no, he pretends to. I don't think he actually smokes them, but at the end of the day, it's quite a child-friendly representation of a heel character, isn't it? So there's all this kind of like fun chaos. Now, again, I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying it's good or sustainable or that I like it or that I think New Japan should do more of it, but I'm just trying to appreciate things from other perspectives, because for me, someone who's consumed a lot of children's content, when I was growing up, consumed a lot of children's content from Japan, things like, the anime series like Dragon Ball, things like that. And it's quite a common trope and a really well-loved trope where you have the bad guy, the dastardly guy who's, breaking the rules and doing like evil things every week, but then just occasionally they'll do a good thing. They'll have like one redeeming moment. I'm just trying to think of examples. Like in Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z, a character like Tien, who was originally like this completely irredeemable arsehole, but then has this redemption arc. Character Piccolo, the same thing. He was like really, really evil to start with, but then there's just like one little thing happens and he's like shows this little redeeming moment. You're like, maybe this character can be saved, or Vegeta in the Dragon Ball Z. Again, if people don't know Dragon Ball, this is all going to be completely over your head. But the point I'm trying to make here is that it's quite a common trope in Japanese media, particularly like children's fiction, to have a dastardly character who then goes on a bit of a redemption arc. So again, I think that's something that's worth acknowledging, even if it isn't to our tastes as Western fans of wrestling. And we would have much preferred to have, for example, like Yota Tsuji versus Konosuke Takeshita, just like beating the shit out of each other and doing cool moves and all of that. I think it's important to try to understand where this love of Evil comes from, because there is it's undeniable. Like, there were fans in that building who were living or dying by everything he did. And I could play the devil's advocate thing, saying, if they hadn't gone with Evil and they'd gone with a more conventional final, maybe they would have got 8,000 fans in the building. So, for it could just be like they've run off so many fans that they're just left with the absolute sickos who love House of Torture and Evil, right? That's also a conversation worth having as well. But there's absolutely a disconnect between those fans in the building who were screaming their heads off, desperate for Evil to win, and fans like us who were just like ready to cancel our New Japan World subscriptions when he got the win over Yota Tsuji the night before. Now, so David says, with crowd significantly down, can people please stop excusing the constant House of Torture push by saying they're so popular in Japan? Nathan says, is the key to New Japan's business turning around listening to the Japanese public? P.S. Evil is awesome. So the duality of man there in two questions. So, like, how do you approach that and digest that as from our sort of Western-centric viewpoint, but trying to sort of make sense of the fact that maybe there is something there about Evil that we can't just completely handwave?
But here's the thing, though, Joel. I don't think we do, in the sense of, like, he does what he does, and you might not like it. You might not want to see a lot of it, but what he does extremely well. The problem that we have, and we've said it from the jump, is the position on the show in which that occurs. And I think the proof is in the pudding, in the sense of when there are times when it's House of Torture focused, gates are down and interest is down. And this show goes into moan mode. And like that happens because it's real, because that's real. The idea of, okay, the narrative, the Dragon Ball Z, villainy character does something well, and we love. I think that can be appreciated, and I think that can be tapped into, absolutely. And I think in a lot of cases, a lot of pro wrestling does do that. The challenge is that when you had the guys hitting each other hard, and they were having 30-minute epic matches, and you were out of breath on the fucking couch watching it, that was when New Japan was at its best. Like, it's hard to sit here and say, well, the fans love it and the fans are into it. And are they? Because I'm looking at numbers that are continuously dropping. Now, again, there are a myriad of other reasons included in that. But I think to sit here and say, well, we're not listening to the core Japanese audience, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Because, again, if it were this buzzworthy thing, one, I feel like I would be hearing a lot more about it. Two, I feel like the numbers would at least be level. Three, I wouldn't hear constant pushback from at least the small Japanese base that I know, and the West losing their mind. I don't know. It's like I have no problem trying to find a positive in this, and I think there is a positive in this in the way that they worked this match and the possibilities that are there with Evil. That being said, we all know that it is a like a minuscule fucking needle dick on a mosquito chance that they're going to lean into this. Like, this will be forgotten in a week. That's what's sad. They went out there and did something, and the crowd was in on it. They're not going to take advantage of it. They just don't. We can fantasy book till the fucking cows come home. What you got was a moment in time, and I would be shocked if they said, not for nothing, I think we might have something here with this Evil thing. No, he'll be back again doing the same shit that makes people hand wave. I'm sorry. And until there is proof and numbers that support the fact that, well, yeah, Evil and House of Torture is actually a good thing. I'm sorry. I'm in the camp of it's not a good thing. At the top of the card, at the top of the show, they absolutely have a place. And our moaning goes down by 90% when they're in the middle of the show. The problem is that we're talking about G1 semifinals, G1 finals, and this is not what people have signed up for.
Yeah, I agree with you on the whole, because whilst it's an interesting thought exercise to explore what it was happening with Evil that made those 6,000 fans in the building love it, I'm also equally or more concerned about the 6,000 fans that weren't in the building, the ones that didn't decide to buy tickets, and why they're not showing up to the show. And, maybe that's the flip side to that. And I hope you're wrong about the Evil thing, because it kind of writes itself, doesn't it? Like, you basically have... This kind of leans upon what they do with Takeshita, but we'll talk about Takeshita in his presentation. But let's say he does become this dominant ace of New Japan, and then he just like the subtle cockiness starts bleeding through into this sort of superficial babyface persona he's trying to deliver, and then he starts beating all the guys that we love, all our beloved dudes like Goto and Taichi and guys like that. And then in the post-match, he's like squeezing out the crocodile tears, like, "Oh, I love Shinohon so much. This is, right. I'm doing the AW tour now. See you guys in 3 months."
Right. So he's Gabe Kid. Yeah.
Right, he's Gabe Kid. Yes. But then the fans like gradually turning on him. Maybe you have him rejecting the fans completely, or just do like the deluded heel who thinks he's a babyface thing. But then while you're doing this, you could do the evil babyface turn, like maybe Ren launches a coup of House of Torture, because no one's left House of Torture.
Right.
5 years, that's never happened. Like, that would be massive if and when it does finally happen. So maybe Ren boots Evil out of House of Torture because, Evil fails to win whatever, like he has a big match or something, he doesn't deliver. Then you rebuild Evil as this loner who's just basically pissed off the entire roster, and no one wants to team with him because they don't trust him. But he gradually builds himself up over the course of the next 12, 18 months to be the guy who, as a babyface, finally dethrones Konosuke Takeshita. I don't know, next year's Wrestle Kingdom after he wins the G1. Like, I don't know, but it feels like, I don't know, it feels like there's money in that. Like, and again, I could come up with half a dozen brilliant booking ideas that New Japan would never do. But there's just a little something that made me think, there's something there. There's something that they could work with and make genuinely good.
Or we could push Yota Tsuji. Or we could put, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to do all that for a guy who's been there, done that. Like the future of this fucking company is not Evil. Can we be very clear on that? It's not Evil. This was a nice moment. Look, I wouldn't put Evil in a list of top 10 pro wrestlers in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
No, he's not a very good babyface wrestler. Okay. Like, even at the peak of his LIJ stuff, he was a middling brawler who could have a very good match against, like a Shingo or an Ishii. But, when push came to shove, like week in, week out, it was nothing really.
Right. Let's not rewrite history. That said,
maybe he's better. Maybe he's improved.
Okay. I'm not willing to take that chance. I'd rather gamble on a person who we are trying to put a rocket ship on, a rocket pack. I don't know what the struggle is. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know why that can't happen. But again, I in my heart of hearts.
Okay, right. There's another one. The question popped in my head, Damon. Do Tsuji or Uemura or Shota or any of those guys have the charisma that Evil does?
Oh, God, yeah. I think so. I think Yota Tsuji absolutely does. Absolutely.
But with that comes a tacit acknowledgement that Evil does have charisma.
Oh, again, he does, but
maybe that's what the missing ingredient is for a lot of these young guys.
Okay. How many times did we make fun of fucking Evil walking out with his laser pointers and the nonsense robe and the whole fucking and the big gigantic fucking saber thing that he carried? Like, come on. Like, it's not like
they belted him up. He must have been doing. They belted him up. They saw something and thought, let's make this guy world champion. And Naito laid down for him, and Okada laid down for him, and Prime Tanahashi laid down for him, and I think he beat Kenny Omega.
And people still don't give a fuck about him. Right?
They did. This tiny pocket of lunatics in Ariake Arena loved him.
Right. Okay, great. Again, at a moment of time. But it's not like we're fucking going to doki this guy and turn him into something that he's not. Like, he is what he is. Can he be a very good wrestler? On some nights, he can be. Again, nobody has a problem with Evil fucking fighting for the Never title. Nobody has a problem with Evil fighting for the TV championship. Nobody has a problem with Evil and whoever the fuck you want to stick with them going for the tag titles. The problem is that in these spots, I don't think people really are into the idea of Evil being anywhere near where he was. And I think people did stuff a little tongue-in-cheek, a little bit fucking, yep, we're going to get behind this guy. And they found the thing of, okay, we've been burnt so many times before. I'd rather root for the guy that's pure, true New Japan Pro Wrestling than a guy who might be perceived as a part-timer. That's it. And that's not it. And Evil and Takeshita were able to find a way to tap into it for that match. Once that bell fucking rang, it was done. I can't imagine them going back to this. Now, that's not to say that Evil will never leave House of Torture. That's not to say that a babyface run can't possibly happen. I'm tired of fantasy booking this promotion because at every turn that we make it interesting, they do the absolute opposite, and it just infuriates us.
I think Evil, if I'm honest, is a moments wrestler rather than a guy who has sustained long-term upside. He can have moments like this match or the back half of this match, or even the match he had with Finlay during the G1 where Finlay just battered him in all a House of Torture and everyone lost their minds. Like, individual moments, brilliant, very memorable, but I can't think of any good Evil feuds where someone came off the back of a feud with Evil hotter than they went into it. Like, they can come out in particular moments or matches, but I've not seen any evidence of any long-term sustainability there. So,
Joel, I defy anyone, you, any listener, anyone who has our archives. There's people that collect everything, right? And they can find shit on the internet. I defy you to find a show in our 360 some odd shows where we put over Evil so hard. Like, we put, like, this is a historic moment for this show. Let it be known.
Yeah, but I also think it would be intellectually dishonest to just go, "Oh, there was interference. Correct. This match was rubbish. We hate House of Torture," because we're better than that. We are better than that.
I say we're the best. What do you think of that?
We are the best. Yeah,
thank you.
I'm just trying to think, like, what is my favorite Evil match? It might be. Do you remember the New Year Dash one where it was Evil and Shingo versus Goto and Ishii?
Yes,
it was fucking awesome. Just like 4 balls charging at each other for 50 minutes. It rocked. So good.
I mean, when he was in that Never title mix, he's had a couple good. Ishii's probably pulled out something good. Shingo, even probably like a Togi Makabe has probably pulled something out of him too. But again, keep in mind, he was incredibly awkward in the beginning. Like, he absolutely has grown into and he's made the character his own, as opposed to, you want me to come out and fucking point a laser pen? What do you want me to do? Yeah. So you got to give him at least that. Like, he's good at what he does. We might not like it, but he's good at what he does. He's fucking Taylor Swift. I'm not going to sit here and fucking listen to Taylor Swift at home, but I can appreciate the fact that she sells out and she connects with young ladies like no one else. There's something to be said.
So, Konosuke Takeshita won the G1 Climax, and I found myself thinking, like, did the right person win? And I think the answer is probably yes. I mean, you talked at length last time about how Takeshita was the right guy, and I even said day one, like, when the whole conversation of Takeshita being accessible to New Japan was on the table, that this is what they need to do. They need to basically rocket pack him to the top of the company, and he should be the unbeatable dominant ace invading Ace for other wrestlers to try to defeat, because that is a gap that we've had in the company, in the roster, since Okada left, I would say. But my bigger query coming out of this, like, is this a coherent story? Because he started off the G1 as a heel, and now he's being presented like a pure babyface. Like, the company have tried to have him, opposite evil, so he becomes more babyface, and he's in the ring crying about how much it means to him. The fans really buying it. And I'm just sort of thinking, like, what is the best long-term use of Takeshita? But I suppose we'd be sort of rehashing the conversation we had on the last episode, which is, I think, if you have access to him, if the contract is there and he is there for all the dates you need him to be there, then he should be your top guy and the guy that you're using to get over the next generation. Like, there's a really good article that Chris Sampson wrote on Voices of Wrestling about Takeshita, like whether he's the new ace of the company. But I still think they fumbled in as much as trying to force him into this babyface role, whereas I think he would be better leaning into that heel invader role, being like, I'm the DDT AEW guy, and I've moonwalked into this company, and already I'm better than all your favourites. Right. I'm the top guy in here. No one can touch me. Come and take your best shot at the king. And then using that, and I think there is real life resentment amongst the fans towards him, and I think they'd be best tapping into that and making it more organic rather than trying to force him to be a babyface.
Some of the best times in this company, some of the most profitable times, some of the most interesting and fun times for New Japan Pro Wrestling has been the element of an outside guy coming in.
Right. So I'm thinking, like, sorry, you were...
No. I mean, but so I have no problem with them leaning into it. The problem, it feels like, Joel, is that they don't know what they want to do with them. Like, they know that, yes, we can't let this talent slip through our fingers. We have to take advantage of his time here, no matter what it is. And the worst part about him winning G1 is the fact that we now have to constantly discuss, how much of an influence AEW is, and how does that impact what he does with New Japan, and blah 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 blah, as opposed to he's one of ours and we can just focus on the pro wrestling element. Like, that's always going to sit in the background with all of the conversation that everyone has, which will get kind of tiresome, to be quite honest with you. But it's it's ignoring the elephant in the room. They don't know what they have. In the sense of, let me take that back. They know what they have. They just don't know what to do with what they have. And I think that was the proof was in pudding during this G1. Like, is he a heel? Is he a face? Is he a sympathetic babyface? Is he just an ass kicker? Like, he had like a million different. He was a million different people from one day to the next. I can't change my mind. Have you ever been down? So yes, thank you very much, everyone. The Verve.
Cone Factor says, do you think Takeshita will sign a bigger deal with New Japan next year? Like, we don't know what the parameters of the deal are, so it's hard to say that. Or do you think that he wins the title at KOPW, King Pro Wrestling, drops it at Wrestle Kingdom, and that's the end of his New Japan run? Mac19 says, Takeshita won. He was a heavy favourite going in. I don't have the feel-goods after the final because none of the younger talent feel elevated. Not Yuya, Oiwa, Tsuji, Shoto. Driller did well. Gabe going to Forbidden Door will only irritate fans more, unfairly I might add. And the House of Torture stuff was way too much over the course of the G1. Those guys will go back to more losses than wins and feel less than. Am I wrong for looking at it this way? Because New Japan has done nothing to make me think otherwise. So Takeshita, he has spoken about wanting to challenge. He said he wants to go into Wrestle Kingdom as champion. So he might do what Zach did last year and challenge for the title early at King of Pro Wrestling, which I think would be a mistake because then you're doing the same thing that you did last year and hamstringing the challenger, because the challenger, I think, needs that G1 win to give them the credibility and the momentum to make them feel like a credible threat. And that's where I think they really fucked it with Shota last year by having his very tenuous claim to having the shot at the title at Wrestle Kingdom, because they gave Zach the double boost of not only being the G1 winner, but also being the champion going into the match. So I hope they've learned from their lesson and not done that and I'm not planning to do that with Takeshita, because then if he does win the title off of Zack, let's say at King of Pro Wrestling, goes in as champion and G1 winner, then it's going to be the path that they get and the story that they tell for whoever's challenging him is going to make them seem less than, because they've not had the credibility of winning a G1 Climax. So what do you think? What's your prediction for where we're going?
Zack wrestles Ren. I think that's baked in, right? So here's the end result. Here's what I want. And again, now we're talking about New Japan in a positive light of, let's not fucking, disrupt the apple cart here. You have 6 months, Zack, Takeshita, build. Work with that. Don't dilute the value of that G1 win any further than you have already have. People shit on that idea. It was not a great idea. It really wasn't. Like, you have your job, New Japan, is to build interest in this fucking match. You're a pro wrestling company. Figure it the fuck out. Get people hyped for Zack versus Takeshita. And to help you get there, you have Zack beat Ren Narita. Like, it's no brainer to me. Like, that's the route you have to go.
Do you know who has wins over Zack and Takeshita in the G1?
No. Please don't say Ren or Narita.
It's our favorite, Shota Umino.
Shota Umino. Well, look, if we do this again, where he shows up in the ring, there will be a riot in the fucking building. Please don't have pillows, because they're all going to end up in the right in the fucking ring. Oh God, they can't do that. But they won't do that again, will they? Joel, tell me they won't. Tell me they won't do that.
Like, New Japan have become analysis proof. I can't do any coherent predictions, because every time I've said, surely they're not. The last episode we did, Dave, the last episode we recorded days ago, where we're both sitting there saying there's no fucking way that the final is not Tsuji versus Takeshita, and they did the thing that we said, surely they're not stupid enough to do the thing. So there is no bottom anymore. Like, there is no, like, the bar just keeps on sinking lower and lower and lower. All bets are off.
Okay. Then, if that's the case, here's what's going to happen. Ren Narita, Shota Umino are somehow going to be in the mix. It'll be a 3-way in the mix at Wrestle Kingdom. How about that? Like what we have to do is we have to write down and think of the worst possible scenarios, because that's what they're going to go for. Because you're right. Just last week we were like, there was no fucking way they would do it, and they did.
It should be Tsuji, but I don't know how we get there.
I have no idea. I have no idea. Like there's not a guy there that's ready. And again, you have 6 months. There's not one of those fucking guys that are ready to take that leap. None of them. To me, that is the story. The fact that we don't have anybody that's ready to take that next leap, to take that next step. Let me take that back. We don't have anybody that the company trusts to take that leap and take that next step. I don't know where the current changes, and I don't know how they make it happen. But it seems like at every turn, it's been like, well, they lost. Oh, they lost again. Oh, they challenged for title. Oh, we lost. Oh, G1 final. Nope. Just constantly. I got to shrug my shoulders and say we don't have. Like, when we get questions, who's going to be the next break? I don't have a fucking clue, and they don't either.
Names on the dartboard.
That's really kind of like you probably have a better odds and better chance of getting it right than trying to think about, well, this guy and this guy's got a loss on this guy and this guy. Your head will explode. And I think that might lead to.
I said to people after last year's G1 that Shota Umino is going to, I think he ended up with a losing record. If I'd said after that G1, Shota Umino is going to be your challenger in the Wrestle Kingdom main event, you'd have had me locked up on the fucking funny farm.
Right. Remember when New Japan Pro Wrestling was a company where people would say, you know what, it pays off to be a long-term fan. The breadcrumbs that they lay and all of that. Like, again, the rope that I've given this company for 5 years, my hands are numb. I can't give them any more rope, man.
It's become a Dick Togo garrote wire now.
It really is. I'm hanging on by a thread when it comes to the booking of this fucking company. Again, 5 years. It's been 5 years. Again, one of those was a pandemic year, clap crowds, all that shit. You would think that we would have figured it out by now, but whoop, boy, we're right back. We're worse than we were. I gotta be honest with you, we're worse than we were. Not only like there's a big difference between young guys and building them up and getting them going we have guys that look like boobs. We have a bunch of boobs.
Not in a good way, because we like looking at boobs.
Well, yes. No, we have the bad way. Is there a bad way? I don't think there is. But you get my point. You get my point. We have boobs. We have underachieving boobs. What? we have underachieving boob. Yeah. So there you go. Evil. Enjoy it while it's here. I don't think it'll last. I think Takeshita is our future. They take the safe route with Zach. He'll pick up a win against Ren, and they have 6 months to build up a main event that really, quite honestly, it doesn't really need to sell a lot of tickets because you got other things that are going on that evening that'll take care of that $6,700 seat that they're trying to pawn off on you.
Wrestle Kingdom 2028 main event. Evil versus Yuto-Ice. You can lock it in now. It's going to be awesome. I can't. My victory lap is going to be the mother of all victory laps. All right, last thing I want to touch on about this Takeshita Evil thing: the Japanese fan response to Takeshita actually winning the G1. We talked about that before, but there was quite a lot of hostility, and again, maybe just a very noisy percentage, like small fraction of very online fans. Like again, it's the Japanese fan base is not a monolith. There's all different opinions available, but I think it is worth discussing the fact that in spite of New Japan's attempts to present this guy as a babyface and generate sympathy for him and him crying in the ring, there are a lot of fans who are rejecting this and rejecting the fact that he's an outsider, the fact that New Japan feel big leagues by the AEW wrestler coming in and winning the prime tournament of the calendar year, questioning the whole relationship, the AEW partnership, the fact that Takeshita is not working the Destruction Tour, and that is extraordinary in and of itself. But also, something that John pointed out earlier, having AEW fans yelling at them in English over Twitter. So you can see it. There's a lot of examples here of AEW fans shouting at Japanese fans on Twitter for not being appreciative enough of Takeshita wrestling in the G1.
Seriously.
It's unbelievable.
Put on a fucking blindfold, get in a car, and drive as fast as you can into a fucking wall. Ugh. You stink. You should be fucking I swear. I just want to fucking bite them in the forehead. I hate stupid idiots. I mean, seriously. What kind of fucking mouth breather? Ugh. Honestly, it doesn't surprise me, but Jesus Christ, the imbeciles that watch pro wrestling sometimes, just amazing. The fact that these people can fucking reproduce and vote is just disgusting. Drop
I've never
dead.
seen anything like that before. Like the parasocial relationship driven to its absolute extreme, where like mild criticism of a company and a billionaire has people like, oh no, you can't say that, no, like acting like you've just fucked up their whole life by someone on the other side of the world expressing some mild concerns about the way wrestling companies work. It's mad. I love it. I'm here for the drama. I'm
really?
here to up. Yeah,
I'm telling you what. The internet is great. The internet is the worst.
Morning Progress says, do Japanese wrestling fans want an ace who bridges companies in a connected world? Is that more than just a North American built perspective? They like seeing stars, of course, but is there an avenue to make him one of their own in the current structure of his appearances and character control? Recognizing it's an imperfect situation for New Japan to rebuild, not ideal world of a homegrown / home-based being the guy, especially with 2025 booking Fox, but fan emotional ties still hard to bridge with logical compromise. Though going heel in long term lets fans choose when to take ownership. So essentially, like with this tension amongst the Japanese fans and how they respond to Takeshita, what do you think is the best way to maximize the use that they have of him in terms of how he's presented as a character?
Yeah. The problem is that the fan base has been burnt, and the vocal people that you're hearing are people that are a little gun shy of the idea of a guy that's not full time New Japan Pro Wrestling. And case in point, if he's not going to be on what tour is that? He's not scheduled for Dominion. Yeah, I mean that only adds fuel to the fire. What do you do? I mean, it's, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, and I don't even know why I'm bringing this up, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. Like BTS, right? So they, each of the band members had to perform military service in South Korea as part of life in general. So you reach a certain age and you have to serve like 2 years. Again, this is a $1 billion band. Worldwide famous. They're fucking printing money, and each one of these members have to perform service. That being said, there was still constant flow of new material that was being released, and then there were like guys who got out, they would do solo tours and blah blah blah. My point being is that even though he might not be live in the arena, we can do taped segments, we can do interviews, we can do highlights of his AEW, whatever. We just need to keep him front and center and make him look like, a beast. That shouldn't be too difficult to do because we've done it for, 50 years. It's not that difficult. So I think that's going to be paramount. But yeah, people are fucking afraid, man. I mean, that's really the bottom line. There's only so many times you can get fucked up the hiney hole when it comes to the company that you support and like and love and watch, and you're just watching them running down the street with bags full of money. There's only so many times, and now you're going to give the big boy belt to somebody who is the possible flight risk. That's a problem. But how do you mitigate that? You keep him constantly fresh, and you do need some angles. You do need something to build up people wanting to see him wrestle, and absence can make the heart grow fonder, no doubt, but they have to do something to make it feel like, one, it's special when he's around, and two, keeping him fresh in the minds of the fan base.
Yeah, and ultimately, like I said, from day one, I was very pro Takeshita being in New Japan. This is what I wanted. So I have no real problems with him winning the G1. But like I say, I think he needs to be this sort of Okada proxy to be the dominant ace of the company or something resembling an ace that is then used as a launching point to get one of those new guys over as an established homegrown star, whether that is Tsuji or Uemura. I think it should be one of those two. Hope it's not Shota Umino, because as much as I like Shota, I know what his ceiling is, right? And I don't think it's that. So as long as that is what Takeshita is used for, and he is not used to play sort of mid-card or pass the parcel, like we're fucking around getting the title between him and Zack and Goto and just doing all that shit again, I'm fine with it, right? That's what it should be. It seems pretty clear. You build him up as big dominant champion, and then either Tsuji or Uemura beats him for the title. Right? That's it. Let's not overthink things, right?
Let's keep it simple, stupid. Let's keep it simple.
That's it. End it.
Oh, okay. Bye.
My name is Tyler Fornes, and I am one of the co-hosts of the Good, the Bad, and the Hung-Gi AEW podcast here on the Voice of Wrestling Podcasting Network. We take a broad scope approach to the world of All Elite Wrestling and the entire universe of Tony Khan. We talk about the big matches, the big stars, the promos, the storylines, and we also look at it from a big picture perspective. How are things going to change over the course of the next 10 years with AEW still in the picture? How are companies like WWE going to adapt and adjust to AEW? Are they going to be a similar way like they did with WCW in the late 1990s? Will there be a counterpunch? We talk about all of that and more on The Good, The Bad, and the Hung-Gi every week on the Voice of Wrestling Network.
Hello, do you like New Japan Pro Wrestling? Are you a Shin Nihon freak? If so, check out the Super J-Cast with Joel and Damon on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
And even if you fucking hate New Japan Pro Wrestling, listen to the Super J-Cast anyway. Not just for our great show reviews, analysis, and pastrami sandwiches, but there's also usually some dick jokes somewhere in the obligatory opening 30 minutes of absolute nonsense we chat about every single week. That's the Super J-Cast for all the best talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling, crisps, and pornography.